strong because it's fearless and intimidating. What you're seeing here is only the start of this race. The most explosive fireworks are yet to come today on Tuff Trax. Welcome to Tuff Trax. Once again, the TNT Monsters are in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for more side-by-side competition. Last week, it was Greg Holbrook and the Equalizer taking the victory. He'll try to do it again here today. But Army Armstrong, one of the big stories today in Myrtle Beach, is going to be to keep our eyes on the Bigfoot 4 truck. This could be the last time we see Bigfoot 4 in TNT competition.
Yeah, the word's come down to us that this will be the last time we're going to see 4 because they're going after the World Championship, but they're going to use the A truck to do it. Now, those of you that follow the sport know the scenario. The A truck, they had to set it out for 2 months in order to allow the rest of the trucks to catch up with it. And I believe it could have happened. If you look at the truck right behind us, you'll notice some new shock absorbers. These shocks cost $1,500 a piece. They're manufactured in California. A lot of people are getting involved in the technical end of these monster trucks, so the drivers feel like, bring on Bigfoot 8, we're ready for him.
You're talking about the shocks of the micro machines right behind us. What makes them different, Army?
They're gas-type shocks. They're a heavier shock. They're the same basic shock that's used in off-road racing in California. But because of the weight of these trucks, they have to be much sturdier. The man that designed the shock, that actually invented the shock, has his name on it, but he's covered the name up. There's a lot of secrecy here. He says if these shocks don't work, I'll give you your money back and buy you a whole new setup. So he believes in the shocks. We saw him run once last week. I was impressed with it. This could be the hot hand for the rest of the year, Scott.
Something else we saw last week, the return of the 1989 Driver of the Year, David Morris, but not in the Equalizer. That split remains. He's now driving no problem. Army, though, rumors are flying that the only reason he's doing this is to set him up for possibly a ride in another truck.
Well, the rumors are flying, and the other truck, all I can tell you, is blue in color.
And they say it's a Ford. We're going to have a lot of great monster truck racing action coming up, but also some sensational pulling on this show. Let's go to Chris Chapman right now to find out about that part of our program.
Thanks, Scott. Coming up later here on Tuff Trax is a class of pro stock tractor pulling from Fishersville, Virginia. Now, these tractors are about as close to a farm tractor as you can actually get without being one. The only difference is they're running turbocharged motors. One of the superstars on the circuit is Sue Ellen Oswald out of Pennsylvania. Her full-time position is as a Pennsylvania state trooper, and she's also working to pass the bar exam to become an attorney in that state. But her true love at the moment is pro stock tractor pulling, and we're going to see her and all the other superstars coming up later here on Tuff Trax. Back to you, Scott.
Boy, you talk about dominant personalities. We're going to have Sue Ellen Oswald on the same show with Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger and all the other superstars of monster truck racing. The Digger coming out right now. We're going to look at his qualifying run, and in typical Dennis Anderson Gravedigger fashion, Army, just tell people to kind of grab the edge of their seats because he's going to lay us down a bonsai shot here.
Yeah, it's like running down a hill. The further you go, the faster you get, the wilder you get. Anderson rolls out. Everybody knows something could happen. Slow start.
Watch the back end, though. Here he comes. Now, he's getting it.
Pull the trigger. Look at this. Trying to throttle out. Brings it around.
Almost ended up on the guardrail. If you weren't with us last week when we described this course at Myrtle Beach, there's a guardrail and right down the middle of it, there's Dennis's wife and son and boy.
That's his new baby boy.
Julie was happy to see him throttle out of that baby. We understand that Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger is not going to make it to the first round. We'll see if we can find out more on that in just a moment. But look at, again, how close he gets to the guardrail that runs in between these two lanes. Boy, that was almost a big time problem for Dennis Anderson. And if he'd have landed on his roof on that guardrail, you'd have been talking about the big-time problem for the truck from Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Army Armstrong is over with Dennis Anderson to find out exactly what's wrong.
Dennis Anderson, one of the crowd favorites. Word we're getting is you're not going to make this first round.
No, I'm not, Army. You know, we had some problems earlier and with the gearbox, and we went out and tested the truck. The gear stripped in the box and put a lot of strain on the transmission. And when I got ready to pull up to qualify, I noticed second gear had a weird noise in it. So I come off the line pretty easy. Then I hammered the truck in drive, And then on the way back through pit road here, I could hear some noise inside the truck, and we went back and checked it out, and I've got a hub going away in the transmission, I guess, so we're not going to be able to make it. There's not enough time in between rounds to change transmissions, get all the safety loops back on it, so we're going to be down for the night.
The word from Dennis Anderson, the Gravedigger is out for the night, but Bigfoot's here. Equalizer, King Kong, all the superstars. Let's see how they match up in the first round. Equalizer is our fast qualifier. He meets Mopar Magic. Wild Hair against David Morris in No Problem. King Kong against the Outlaw, the old Ford and the new Ford. Then the original Bigfoot taking on Micro Machine. And rounding out the first round of competition, Clydesdale renews his rivalry with the Carolina Crusher. Tuff Trax is brought to you by Nintendo, makers of the Nintendo Entertainment System and the world's largest and most exciting library of great games. Nintendo. Now you're playing with power. Back with Army Armstrong and Chris Chapman on Tuff Trax. I'm Scott Douglas in South Carolina on the beach at Myrtle Beach Speedway. First round action begins with last week's winner on Tuff Trax, the defending world champion and current world championship points leader, the Equalizer Chevrolet, meeting the big Dodge, the Mopar Magic Dodge out of North Carolina. That's Gary Wiggins.
Got this little deja vu. What I'm talking about, lane choice went to the Equalizer, and he again goes back into what everybody says is the bad lane. The reason they say it's a bad lane, the walls are close on each side, but the Equalizer is not intimidated at all. He goes right back where he left off last week into the winner's pole.
Lane claustrophobia, if you will, because those walls are tight, they close in on you, and they're on each side in the lane the Equalizer's on. The other lane is open to the right. There's more room for error. But Greg Holbrook loves this lane. It's working for him. He won out of it last week, and he started off with a big win here tonight. Now, Mopar Magic, look at that, a broken rear drive shaft.
Yeah, boy. That's a tough break. This kid has a real strong charger. He's an independent, really represents the Chrysler and the Dodge people awfully well. I'd like to see him get some support. He's a good monster truck driver.
Chevrolet and Ford hooking up here. Marvin Smith, Arnold, Missouri, the Wild Hair Chevrolet against that man, the world champion driver a year ago, the driver of the year, David Morris, but now in a new truck for him, the No Problem Ford Bronco.
Last week, Morris got the Ford Bronco into the wall. Wild Hair just dominates this run. Marvin Smith, a lot of confidence there, Scott.
It never happened for David Morris and No Problem, as that truck just never got anything going at all. Handling problems, again, appear to be it. David Morris just can't seem to get a handle on that truck. And the Wild Hair got quite a wild ride. Watch the end of the run for Marvin Smith. Goodness, kind of a bucking
Yeah,
Bronco
he almost overloaded on the nose. They call it high side. Morris has got a slow steering truck. John Moore admits to that. David Morris is just getting time in the seat.
Army's over with Marvin Smith. Here he is now.
Marvin, real quick, in sports terminology, it looked to me like you may have gotten your bell rung on that run.
Yes, I did, Army. It hit pretty hard on the side of the roll cage there.
Did you actually?
I think I rode a wheelie for pretty good ways, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, but you had to keep the thing planted on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, I rung my bell a little bit. I hit the cars there and got in the hole, and it started up. I had to nail it and bring it back out. And when I did, it just, I had to stand it up.
One of the stories in recent weeks on Tuff Trax has been kind of a rebirth for the King Kong truck. Now he meets the new breed of Ford, the Outlaw Ford, and Mike Lyon from Pennsauken, New Jersey. Steve Kane has been outstanding of late in this King Kong truck out of Texas.
The Kong truck that you're looking at is the truck he learned to drive, and he's very comfortable with it. He won at Bowling Green, Ohio. He showed us he can be a player. But what we're seeing here is Bob Chandler. He's not in the picture, but he's pushing all these trucks to go to the outer limits. Big motor in the Outlaw. New suspension in King Kong. Side-by-side Ford. Oh, what a run.
King Kong pulls it off. Now, Outlaw, you may remember last week on Tuff Trax, smacked the wall on his first run, so at least he gets a good smooth run in on that brand new engine. But King Kong does get the victory as we watch him again. And look, King Kong got a terrible launch off that first set of cars. He just corrected so fast, he came back and won the race.
They're saying tonight's kind of like riding a rocket ship down a bowling alley, and you got to just go right down the middle of this thing?
Yeah, this course is going away, Army. It's, there's big holes in cars and stuff like that. The ramps are shooting you off one way or the other, You just got to go out there and you just got to try to hold the truck straight and just go, as fast as you can.
It could be a wild day at the office here on Tuff Trax. Let's look at the points coming into the action. 49-point lead for Equalizer over Bigfoot. King Crunch sits third. Then the Carolina Crusher could overtake the auto value special today. Kong is in the number 5 position. It's Gravedigger now 6th. He's moved past USA 1. Nightlife, Outlaw, and Buffalo Tremor round out the top 10. More awesome action is coming up on Tuff Trax. The brand new Micro Machines coming out on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge to do battle with the Bigfoot Ford. This is Bigfoot number 4 and John Pyan. Army, this is going to be our last week of seeing Bigfoot number 4, and I guess as a postscript, John Pyan has done the job. He has kept Bigfoot in contention, and next week, Andy Braff comes back full tilt in Bigfoot number 8.
Well, John Pyan had a lot of pressure on him, and the pressure was from staying close. Exactly what he did. This young man has proven beyond a doubt he's a good monster truck driver. I look for him to step up and become a Bob Chandler's later equipment, but right now all eyes will turn to Andy Braff and Bigfoot 8 when this night's over. This is the swan song for number 4 in Myrtle Beach.
As of next week, that thing will be an antique, but right now it gets a big victory in the points race for the Bigfoot camp of Bob Chandler. The win goes to Bigfoot number 4 and John Pyan. Army Armstrong is going to go talk with the Ford driver.
John, the word is this is the last time we're going to have a chance to see Bigfoot 4. You're trying to take this thing out of here on a winning note, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm kind of the rookie on this series as far as TNT is concerned, and I want everyone to know who John Pyan is.
They're definitely learning your name in a hurry. Each time you seem to be getting a little bit more confidence in the truck.
Yeah, before the series started, I took a month off with a neck injury, and I'm just now getting back in the swing of things. I had all that time off sitting and watching, and I'm ready to get back in the seat now.
You actually did that. You actually sat down and looked at videos of all the trucks that you're racing. You studied them just like a quarterback studying a defensive team.
Yeah, every week, every show that is taped, we get to go back in the shop and see that, even though Andy might have been running the race, I'm watching what everybody else is doing.
The study, the work that goes into driving the Bigfoot truck, according to John Pyan.
You know, it's kind of interesting, Scott. Before he was a Bigfoot driver, he was a world champion, top amateur BMX bicycle rider.
Kurt Fisher is a former world champion mud racer. He had a good run a week ago, but not today. Here's Chris Chapman to find out what went wrong with the Micro Machine.
Kurt, got to be disappointed after getting to the line and having some obvious problems with the Micro Machine.
Well, we don't know what happened. We're just going to take it home and work on it a little bit. I don't know if the fuel filter stopped up or if we've got an injection problem with the cylinder or what, but we'll figure it out.
What went through your mind when the light turned green and the truck sat there?
Well, the first thing I was going to do was beat him off the line because our truck, it's hard to beat it off the line, and I tried to cut a light, and the first thing happened was it didn't go no place.
That was the end of the story and the end of the line today for the Micro Machine and Kurt Fisher. The Clydesdale is getting ready to go running against the Carolina Crusher. We want to go back a week, though, and watch the most stunning upset we've seen in several weeks. Flat out, nose to nose. Last week here, Clydesdale beat the Equalizer.
Well, Clydesdale had a new engine combination. We're down to sea level, and it's all dialed in. It worked for him. He just flat beat the Equalizer, and that kid had a grin on his face from ear to ear, Scott.
You'll remember, though, that was the first round. Clydesdale was later eliminated. Equalizer came back as a fast loser and actually won the whole shooting match a week ago. Well, now Clydesdale takes on another of the big dogs, if you will, the Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina. And while we've been watching the Bigfoot Equalizer battle over the last month and a half, Crusher has gotten back in the point hunt.
Gary Porter had to redo the transmission from last week. He knows he's going to be a player, but once again, look at this. Bennett Clark is on a roll. If there's such thing as a favorite track, it's got to be Myrtle Beach for the Clydesdale.
You know, in the history of monster truck racing, it's relative short history. Some of the biggest upsets so far have come in this matchup because Clydesdale has had very good success over the years against Carolina Crusher. But I don't think we expected him to win this matchup here, and he won it convincing.
Yeah, he won it big time. He's just making horsepower now, Scott. The only difference.
You know, Porter, watch coming over the first set of cars, how badly out of shape he gets. I think that's the story. And again, you talk about the engine, you talk about sea level, it's made a big difference, and Clydesdale gets the win. Chris is over with Gary Porter to talk about the problems he had on that first set of cars.
Gary you got to be a little bit surprised Bennett Clark came out there and just put the pedal to the metal and let it rip.
Right, you know, Bennett, he just put alcohol injection on his motor, and his truck's been running, you know, really super here lately. And, you know, that run I made, I was lined up real far on the left side of the cars, and when I came off for the first set, you know, the truck got a little sideways, and I had to let out a little bit so I wouldn't hit the wall, and, you know, it cost me the race.
That completes our first round of TNT Monster Truck Racing from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. More great monster action coming up a little bit later. But next, the Lady Cop goes tractor pulling here on Tuff Trax. Of Monster Truck Racing battling in the Major League of Monster Truck Racing. It's the TNT Monster Truck Challenge at Myrtle Beach Speedway, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Marvin Smith and the Wild Hair Chevrolet trying to knock off the Big Daddy, the equalizer, the man on top of the TNT World Championship point standing. It's Greg Holbrook, the kid from Springfield, Tennessee.
You know, Scott, this kid, I can't say it enough, he keeps going back to a lane that nobody else won. Look how great his truck goes. Now, his truck just will handle where nobody else's will. That center lane is intimidating with the wall on each side. Could be a major problem before this night's over for anybody but the equalizer for some reason.
The equalizer has lane choice and continues to choose it, as Army has documented. And you can see right in front of you, it's closed in on both sides. No room for error. But the equalizer, so far, hasn't made any errors. Our next matchup will be coming up in a moment, and it'll put the King Kong truck in this lane.
Now, what they're trying to do, the center wall is the dangerous part. They're trying to stay to the outside away from each other, because the center wall actually has a telephone post in there. If you hit one of those rascals, you're in deep trouble.
Again, I was talking about the Kong truck coming up. Crusher here has lane choice. He was the faster qualifier.
Yeah, if he goes where I would go, he goes to the outside where he's got some room.
Exactly. That puts King Kong into, again, lane claustrophobia with a guardrail on his right and the low inside retaining wall for the pit area that the stock cars use here at Myrtle Beach Speedway every weekend.
I said it earlier, it's like riding a rocket ship down a bowling alley. You go a little bit left or a little bit right, you're in big trouble. They come out side by side, Chevrolet and Ford.
Steve Kane, King Kong, the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet.
Scott, he's in trouble.
Look out, he's still going, trying to get it shut down.
Oh, no. Fire, we got a major problem on the end of the Myrtle Beach Speedway.
The fire is burning on the King Kong truck. It has landed on two police cars at the end of the track. Steve Kane apparently is not out of the truck yet as the fire is continuing to blaze.
Everybody's going down. Okay, I can see. Here comes Kane.
He is out of the truck. There's Kane right there. He's taking the helmet off.
Okay, I'm going to work my way over and see if I can catch him, Scott.
Unbelievable. And you see a few smiles. That's because the crowd sees that Kane is now out of the truck. And for, gosh, at least 30 seconds, nobody could spot him with fire all around.
It's almost weird. He's out like walking down no man's land, like nothing happened. Look at this. He's in shock, Scott.
I was afraid he was seriously injured. We couldn't find him. Nobody could see him. And you could see Steve is wanting to walk this one off. That's Nick Rossi, the owner of the Outlaw truck, with his arm around him. And
let me get over there, Scott. He's coming my way.
Man, you can see that Steve is just wanting right now to take a deep breather as Army gets over to talk with Steve Kane after, I don't know, that's the most terrifying run I've ever seen in monster truck racing. Here comes to you, Army, Steve Kane.
First of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Army.
You have any idea what happened?
When I come over that second set of cars, it got really squirrely on me, and it looked to me like I was going to hit that wall, so I was trying to compensate for it when I was, before I hit the ground, turn the wheel a little bit. And I think I turned the wheel just a little bit too much, and, when she hit the ground, that front end really hooked up, and
it looked to me like when you turn the wheel, the right front hit the ground, but at that time, the left front wheel was up on the rail. Is that what could have thrown you over this thing? When you got the left wheel onto the rail, it looked like you're really in trouble.
Yeah, I think that's, I really don't know. Everything was happening so fast, I'd have to look at the video, but I'd say that'd be about right. That front tire hit that rail and everything.
Well, we've been talking in the sport about how you drivers have to do something that's almost unnatural. That is, when you get in trouble, you have to gas the engine. That's exactly what you did. I cannot think of anything you could have done different to get out of that situation.
Well, I don't know. I seen that sign coming up, and all I was trying to do was get it turned back over on its wheels, but nothing worked,
I'm glad you're okay. We'll see you next week.
We'll see.
Tell you, Scott.
Army, he's shook.
Yeah, he's in shock right now. One of the things I was wondering about, why were those vehicles located at the end of the track? I'm just going to be real blunt. That should not have been the case. The right rear suspension collapsed. He's steering it, but you notice in the replay, the right rear came around on him. He's driving. He's doing the only thing he can do. But the right rear suspension gave away. That's what caused the accident. Now he throttles up on it, explodes the engine, goes end over end and lands on top of the cars and gets a big, quick alcohol fire. About everything disastrous that could happen just happened in about a 2-second span to that kid.
We're going to analyze it a little closer, Army, as they continue to try and upright the King Kong truck. First of all, no one in the police cars, and obviously that's a very dangerous situation, very scary, and as you documented, why the cars were there is somebody's got to answer that question. As he comes over, though, I think the key thing, Army, was back before that point, the instinct. Now, every driver knows when you get up on your side like that, you've got to throttle out. If he would not have throttled out, he would have simply flipped at that point and obviously saved himself a lot more trouble. But the instinct is to power out and try and save it.
Yeah, but you got to realize these trucks have kill switches on it. There was another person involved, Mike Speller, at the end of the track, the TNT official, was trying to make a call. Should I kill the engine or not? He let him go, hoping he would power his way out. But again, what I keep coming up with, why in the world were these vehicles sitting at the end of a racetrack? I don't think they should have been there. These were we just got word, these are 2 brand new police cruisers that had just replaced the cruisers that were demolished in Hurricane Hugo. They're not a week old. Look at this.
Unbelievable.
This is for real. Plus the 76 sign.
That just went up last week. I guess you know what it's time for, Army. It's time for the crunch of the week.
Hold on to your seats for the amazing crunch of the week, brought to you by Micro Machines, the #1 colossally collectible vehicles in the world. If it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not a real thing.
Well, you know it's got to be on the crunch of the week. Army, take us through the run with Steve
Okay,
Kane.
I want you to watch the rear suspension closest to the camera, right? Now it brakes. See, it comes around. He's steering, but the rear steering too. Kane is at the mercy of geometry. Nothing's going to go straight for him. He nails the throttle. He explodes the engine. He flips on top of the police car and then bursts into flames. Just a typical Saturday night on the TNT Tour, Scott.
Steve Kane is one lucky man.
Yeah.
We don't know if we can top this one, but when we come back, we're going to try. Armstrong, you and I have seen a whole bunch of monster truck racing between us. I have never seen anything scarier than that run by King Kong.
Well, it's like any kind of motorsport. They're going to get quicker, they're going to get faster, but I got to bring one thing out. The truck is safe, the driver is safe, the roll cage held up and everything, and we're going back to racing, Scott.
But the track conditions weren't safe at that time, and again, the car should have never been there. Steve Kane obviously is very lucky that his truck was built safe enough to hold up. And, you know, now that everybody sees Kane is safe, this crowd is just on a fever pitch.
Yeah, they're pumped up. And I wonder if the police cars could have something to do with it, too. You know, we've all had a dream. Let's find out. Let's go back to the starting line. It looks like the Outlaw going against the Clydesdale.
Now, you're making a good point. Once everybody finds out nobody's hurt, these people are having a whale of a time and really getting a laugh out of the fact that it's not a funny fact that the police cars were smashed here today. Outlaw and Clydesdale, Army.
Mike White not intimidated by that wall. The man in front of him went end over end. He drives it out the back door. Outlaw looking stupid.
I'm going to tell you, Mike White and the Outlaw is having himself a good night. Last week, he had the bad break early. Tonight, he's trying to atone for it, and he's looking good.
Something he's doing, he's lining up on the left of the starting line and coming across the track. He's actually running away from the wall. So I guess he did pay attention. Let me check.
Mike White pops out of the Outlaw after a big win over the Clydesdale Chevrolet. Now he's working his way over to Army Armstrong. Army, what's Mike got to say?
Mike, you guys have been hammering all year long trying to get the right combination on a bad luck night for some guys. This could be a good luck night for you guys.
Last week I hit that wall, and I'm determined not to hit that wall again. So I'm coming off the line as hard as I can to keep the truck straight.
then I can ease off on it and I can control the truck when I'm down here. That's the problem Kong just had a little while ago.
Oh, Mike Wine kind of vivid in his explanation right there. You know, last week, Mike was the guy that hit the wall. Here's the run in the qualifying round, and you'll see him come off the side of the cars and smack into and actually go over the retaining wall at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Now we understand that Benedict Clark may just have suffered a little brain fade in that last race against Outlaw.
Well, when I got in the flat after I got over the set of cars, I shifted it into neutral. Then I had to come back in the third gear. You know, you don't have time to go ahead and shift it into neutral, rev your motor up, drop it back in gear when you're racing.
You know, it's kind of funny that happened to him, because if you remember, last week the same thing happened to John Pine, the Bigfoot on his car line. He said brain fade cost him a win last week. Let's see what he's going to do now.
The swan song of Bigfoot 4. Will it continue? Yes. Bigfoot puts Mopar away, and he'll go to the semifinals. And look at this. Mike Wine in the Outlaw is running strong, having a great night. And what does he want? He wants to beat Bigfoot and claim supremacy in the Ford camp. He's going to meet him in the semifinals.
Bigfoot made a phone call home. Bob Chandler said, it's the last time we run the truck, whatever it takes. That's what you got to do to win.
He's looking good. There he is. John Pyatt, the winner in Bigfoot number 4. Army Armstrong is going to talk to him now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of a historic evening. The reason it's historic, this could be the last time they're ever going to run the Ford truck. You said a moment ago in your interview that you're going to go out in a blaze of glory. You go to the next round. Does everything feel okay?
Yeah, the Ford Claim Bigfoot is running great. There we have Donnie Kessel, my crew guy, and I have been working on it, and there is no problems at all with the truck.
You guys are kind of young to be in monster truck racing. An accident like we had a moment ago, does that affect you at all?
No, not at all. I rolled this truck over about 3 or 4 months ago, and 15 minutes later, I was out racing again. We put 2 quarts of oil and went out. It does not scare me at all.
Bigfoot. You'll see him in the left-hand lane. When he comes back in the semifinals, he is going to have to go up against the guy who wants to beat him worse than anybody else out there. Mike Wine and the Outlaw want to be the king of the Ford. Chris Chapman just talked with Mike Wine about taking on the king of the monster truck.
I can't wait to get Foot. I am dying to beat Foot. 2 years I've never beat him. He's embarrassed me. Never again.
Back on Tuff Trax, Army Armstrong. I think the great rivalry in sports and the one the fans enjoy so much is Ford and Chevy. And we know we're going to have Ford and Chevy in the Monster Smash Final, because in one semifinal, 2 Chevy, Carolina Crusher, Equalizer. The other semi, it'll be 2 Fords, Bigfoot and Outlaw.
You know, we've been talking all day long about Bigfoot 4 and everything. The truck on the left of the screen right now, that truck is sold. There's a due date. He will not have that truck. He's got to get all the points he can with it now. We're talking to Carolina Crusher, and he is in deep trouble. Equalizer puts him on the trailer.
He gave it an outstanding run, but it's not enough as Greg Holbrook continues to dominate the competition at Myrtle Beach Speedway, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He won here a week ago, and he's going back to the Monster Smash Final.
Now, like you're saying, in the final, there's going to be 2 blue trucks. The Battle of the Blues, brothers, in Myrtle Beach.
Bigfoot will come out against Outlaw next to see if he can earn his way into the final against the Equalizer as Greg Holbrook lays the shot down and gets it done. A good run for the Crusher, and you know that old truck is really holding up well for it. Greg Holbrook waving to the crowd, and I mean the old truck of the Carolina Crusher holding up well for Gary Porter. And, you know, Army, I think Porter's going to hate turning that truck over.
Yeah, I think he will too. We were talking about the old pair of shoes and how you feel comfortable in it. This guy has built a nest there. Speaking of building a nest, you notice the decal in the front window. That says, get well quick, Darryl Gwynn. One of our drag racing friends injured in an accident. All the monster truck people want Darryl to know. We're pulling for you, buddy. Hang in there. Now we're going to see who's going to represent Ford in the final. Will it be the Outlaw or Bigfoot?
Mike Wine may gnaw the steering wheel in half getting ready for this one. He is on ready, dead set ready. The Outlaw wants a whole bunch of Bigfoot. John Pyatt, relatively new to driving the Bigfoot truck. Can he appreciate what this race means to the Outlaw and Mike Wine?
Yeah, I believe so. Everybody starts and works their way up the ladder. These guys are battling the same rung up the ladder. One has a big sponsor, that being Pyatt. Meanwhile, Wine, he's working his way with Nick Rossley. Here we go. Rossley and the Outlaw. Mike Wine holding off the cars. He does it. He does it. Do you believe it, Scott?
The biggest win in the career of Mike 4x4 is going to a museum somewhere, I guess, because you can stick a fork in that truck. As far as the TNT Monster Truck Challenge is concerned, it's done, and the Outlaw did what he wanted to do, retire him one match earlier than he wanted to go out. Mike Wine getting the win in the Outlaw, and as we look at this replay, Army Armstrong is going to talk to a fired-up Mike Wine.
Mike Wine, they're taking your truck back to the pit area. Your crew says it's 100% ready to go to the finals. 100%, no problems at all. The only reason we keep taking it back, we're from a gasoline motor to an alcohol motor, and we still only got a 10-gallon fuel cell in it. I'm about out of fuel when I get down there, but he'll get it back. That's my boss. He'll fill it up. That's my crew chief, too. Everybody was afraid when I got in this lane right here, I'd be afraid of that wall last week. Well, I'm ready for this lane. I'm ready for this wall, and I'm ready for equalizer now.
I'll tell you something you don't know. I can tell by this interview. You're not going to be in this lane. You're not going to be in the wall. He likes the lane. He likes the wall. He's going to push you on the other side.
That's fine with me. Less wall, more throttle on an open lane back here. That means I got a lot of runaway to slow down. I can finally open that motor up. I'm tired of running at half throttle.
You've been chasing these guys for about a year and a half now. You still have to put that first win under your belt. Is it going to happen in Myrtle Beach tonight?
I'm going to try my best. If I don't get it, something broke. It won't be me giving up. I don't give up. Thank you, Arnold.
The Outlaws riding tall in the saddle in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Lots of thumbs up, maybe even a couple of high fives when he gets back there to truck owner Nick Rossi as Mike Wine goes to the Monster Smash Final. His opponent will be the equalizer, and you'll see it next. Ever on Tuff Trax, and we're not done yet because we have a war set in the Monster Smash Final.
Mike Wine was walking back to the pit area a moment ago. He was reading a riot act to the driver of the equalizer. Holbrook looked at him, smiled, and said, "Let's go at it."
It's about to happen. It's time for the Monster Smash Final. Mike Wine, the Outlaw. Greg Holbrook, the equalizer.
Mike Wine, the Ford. Greg Holbrook, the Chevrolet.
Tuff Trax. Equalizer has gone straight as an arrow.
Greg Holbrook should be known as cool hand loose. Nothing rattled this kid. That's why he won it 2 weeks in a row.
If he was going to rattle Army, it should have been there when he saw that Outlaw was ahead of him. No, sir. He just hammered it harder and took it right out the back door.
I think that kid packed dynamite just for a hop.
Watch there. You can see the difference with Outlaw coming squarely off the first set. Army's caught up with both drivers.
When you came in this thing, you said you were not going to roll over. He was going to work for it. And for the first half, it was just dead even.
I know. I got toward the middle of the cars, and as you saw, it really got squirrely on me. It's not worth running into him. It's not worth hitting anything else. I'd come back next week and run again. Come back in the finals and run him again and run anybody else without destroying the truck.
The truck is where you and Nick Ross have worked hard to get here. Okay, what's so amazing is the team concept here. Gary Cook picks you up. This time last year, you're riding ATV motorcycles. Now you're racing these things. You guys have always said if we get the right combination, it's going to work. That's exactly happening. Boy, 1990 is just going to be a war year for you monster truck guys, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. We're in 9th position right now in the national points. Before the end of the year, I'll be in the top 5 or I'll be in the top 3 without a doubt.
Mike's been tough. First year he was running, having a little bad luck. Now he's got his new motor in. He's going to be a heck of a driver.
This monster truck racing is really turning into something big, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's turned out to be pretty wild. Who'd ever thought? I was a truck driver driving over the road for 9 years. I finally quit. Just got bored sitting home, and this is what I ended up doing. Who'd ever thought him driving around in the woods would be out here? He's going to be a national champion. I'm going to be right chasing behind him.
Yeah, this kid's only 19 years old. Wow. It only can happen in America, ladies and gentlemen. Monster truck racing at its best.
Mike Wine may be trying to concede the championship to Equalizer already, But with a 59-point lead, a young gentleman by the name of Andy Brass is bringing back Bigfoot number 8 next week on Tuff Trax, and he's conceding nothing as he'll try and track him down. Crusher is third. The Auto Value King Crunch now has to try and chase the Crusher back down. Awesome Kong is fifth. Gravedigger the Salad sixth, but Steve Wilkie and USA 1 are going to come after him. Nightlife, Outlaw, Buffalo Tremor rounding out that top 10. Once again, Army Armstrong, next week, Bigfoot 8 comes back, and he comes back gunning for that man, Greg Holbrook and the Equalizer.
Everybody in the Ford camp thinks Bigfoot can do it. Stay tuned. We're going to find out.
One more time, we're going to look at, ladies and gentlemen, the most unbelievably scary run in monster truck racing history. And again, remember, nobody got hurt, but what a show.
Monster truck races for real on the TNT circuit.
It's never been better, and it's never been wilder. We'll see you next week, and who knows what'll happen on Tuff Trax.